Well, good afternoon everybody, and welcome to a slightly delayed sunset safari. We do apologise for the very late start. We've just been
good
busy
afternoon
working
everybody,
and with me this afternoon. Just to let you know, we were here in Arathusa a little bit earlier, stopped to start with the lines before we knew anything about our comms issues, and Andrew's fluid head broke. So we've made a bit of a plan, but if you see every now and again a bit of a jolt or anything like that, it's not Andrew's fault. It's just that he's working with our bush mechanics plan. And Scott is also out and about with Jeandre on the back, and we have Nikki and Jess in FC. Eugene has gone on leave, which might be why we've had the attack of the gremlins recently. But Alex is back on board with us once again, and we're very happy to have him back with us. Now, I've stopped here to look at these wonderful little dwarf mongoose, who I can hear chirping and contact calling to each other. Two females who ran all the way from Djuma Dam before settling down at Red Dam. Yes, you can come out, it's okay. You can come say hello. I think this is probably the same family that live and are often seen on knobthorn clearings. Knobthorn is just behind us. That was so cute. Getting ready to settle down for the evening, I think. Oh, off we go. Heading out for one last insect collecting forage before night. They are so cute. They do make the sweetest, tiniest little squeaks. You can see how very, very tiny that little one is. Absolutely adorable. Now, I thought I'd take a little bit of a trip around Arathusa whilst I'm waiting for a chance to catch up with those lionesses and see what they're doing. When I left them, they were still fast asleep in the shade. It is bakingly hot this afternoon, or it has been. At least it's cooled down a little bit now. But when we went out earlier, it was very, very warm. And the sun is definitely noticeably stronger now. Oop, into the burrow. And I think that's our cue to start exploring what else there is to see on Arathusa. I'm going to hook around past the dam and do a bit of a loop before I start heading up to Red Dam where those lionesses are settled down. Let's head off. Oh, grey hornbill. Let's see if we can get you. I haven't seen you in a while. No, come back, come back. Ah, that was terribly antisocial of him. It was a grey hornbill that was perching in the tree. I haven't seen many of them around here. Interestingly, much less than I used to see on the reserve I worked at previously. Let's try and see if we can get a visual of him. Looks very, very similar to the... Oh, never mind. He's disappeared. He's not going to play nice. Can you still see him there, Andrew? At the back. There you can just see him tucked away behind the bush willow. Sort of to the top in the middle of your screen, just slightly to the left of the middle. He's hiding there. Very much the same as the yellow and the red-billed hornbills, but just with a grey beak. And slightly less dramatic colouring with that black and white. Off he goes. Doesn't want to be seen on camera this afternoon. And let us continue on our quest to see what we can find in Arathusa. I'm going to head check as to... We are, of course, every time we come down to this side of Arathusa, we always look on the lookout for both Shadow and her cub, young Sindile, and also either Tengana or the Anderson male. I've never seen the Anderson male, but I've heard he is absolutely incredible looking and really quite enormous. It'll be interesting interesting to have a chance to see him. Looks as though the elephants have been through here. I wonder if they headed down to the dam at some point. Now the lionesses that we are waiting to go and see, it's those two young Nkuhumas that were on the buffalo kill. And it was incredible how fast the action unfolded this morning, and how they responded to the presence of the Birmingham boys as well as the presence of that unknown female. Now the prides won't want to be interacting in any way, the Nkuhumas and the sticks. They generally keep well out of each other's way. She's followed along because she's in estrus, probably false estrus, but she's in estrus nonetheless, and is therefore following the males wherever they go. And they've come up into Djuma to throw their weight around, and they were all crawling around our vehicle this morning. It was absolutely phenomenal. There's nothing quite like that experience of male lions all crawling at once. Of course, not everyone can watch every drive, so just an update for Laura and any others that might have missed what happened on the sunrise safari. Basically what happened was Scott headed across to the buffalo carcass that we've been watching for the last few days, and the Nkuhumas had moved essentially pretty much between the carcass and then back to the dam and then back to the carcass, always looking slightly unsettled, a little bit unsure of themselves. And very round and very full of buffalo. Now this morning, all of a sudden, when Scott was sitting at the carcass, I just picked up on big male lion tracks coming up the road, as well as a female. And as I called them in, he said, "No, they're here, they've come." And Scrapper, who's the one with the dark eye, he was the first one to come in. He's got that one black eye, and he approached quite slowly. The Nkuhumas realized that he was there, and then immediately started running towards them, trotting towards them. And they upped and scampered off. And that's when Scott noticed that there was a lioness in the back as well. Now there was a lot of debate as to whether or not the lioness who was mating with the Birmingham boys south of our boundary was an Nkuhuma or a Styx female. And I think that, judging by the interaction that happened today, the fact that the Nkuhumas immediately turned tail and fled, probably suggests to us that it is a Styx female. I think it's looking very likely that it is. From the Birmingham boys in the way that they did. And the answer to that is male lions that are mating with a female. They're very, very aggressive and very defensive of that female. Sorry, I was just listening to the Game Drive channel there. I think that they are aware of the fact that a male will be very, very defensive over the female that he's mating with. And not only that, but it's also an issue surrounding food. So there was a carcass involved, which, as we know, lions can be incredibly aggressive over. They're amped up, full of testosterone. Quarantine while Scott stayed with the Birmingham boys. I have to admit to Laura and others, it was absolute chaos there for a while. There were just lions everywhere. Every time we got to the Birmingham boys, they'd moved somewhere else, and they went up and down and backwards and forwards, calling and scent marking their territory. And it was very lucky that some of the viewers were also keeping an eye on the Djuma Dam camera, because they spotted the lionesses moving away from the area, and Andrew and myself followed them across quarantine for ages. Until I landed in a hole, at which point we stopped following them in order to jack ourselves out, and then we carried on following them. And we found them settled down probably about 4 or 5 kilometers away from the Djuma Dam at Red Dam in Arathusa. So quite extraordinary events have been happening over the last few for the last few hours, I suppose. And it seems as though there's always, whenever we think things have started to settle down, there's always a new twist to the tale and something else happens. It really is incredibly interesting. It will be really fascinating to see over the next few days. And I wonder what we are going to, or what's going to unfold tonight with those Birmingham boys. Are they going to stick around? Are they going to feed from that rather rancid carcass? I don't think so. I think that carcass might be done for now.
I don't know what happened.
Coughing over the back of the vehicle, shame.
Maybe a bug.
Maybe a bug. There's a lot of bugs flying around at the moment. Oh, okay, well, I think our cameraman's okay. I think he's still breathing, which is a good sign.
I'm alive.
Good. Well done, Andrew.
Thank you.
And that's very good news, because Scott will probably most likely not be out on this particular drive. He is getting his aerial on Wendy patched up, and there were a lot of signal breakups, so it's really important that we get this fixed up as soon as possible, because it is difficult to patch between us. And I'm hoping that Wendy will be back up and running very soon. Wonderful news from my part is that generally in this area I absolutely cannot hear the questions that you send through coming through to me, and I've always struggled to being able to answer them right here, and it's perfect. I can hear everything. Now, those two Ngumas are moving along on their own, and I've said before, it's a possibility. Prides do split every now and again, especially during a takeover, but it's usually the split is caused by young females with young cubs moving away to try and keep those cubs away from the incoming males. Now, with these two Nkuhumas, we're still missing the amber-eyed female, as well as one of the older females with a slightly lighter face, and we're not too sure where they are. They could be with that other sub-adult. I'm hoping they are, but we honestly don't know. And Jack, who's watching all the way in Texas, was wondering how will the Nkuhumas reunite if they can't contact call because they're hiding from. Jack, I will say that I definitely heard contact calls this morning. I think not just from the Birmingham boys. I think those females were calling. It might have been what alerted them, the Birminghams, to their presence. And I'm going to stop here so we can get a view of that rather beautiful fish eagle before he flies away. Very, very striking. pretty beautiful scene. Now those speckles that you see on the back there, you don't always see those on fish eagle adults. And it makes me think that this one might be just in the process of acquiring his years to do that. And I think this one is just in the process of getting rid of those speckles. Right on the cusp of adulthood there. He's acquired. But I think it's interesting that he's managed to acquire such a nice area so young as a territory. Might just now, the one thing that we have seen regularly, or at least Scott has seen, and I'm going to move forward to show you in a moment, are a family of little baby Egyptian goslings. Terribly, terribly cute. I'll shift forward so we can have a look at them. But this fish eagle is other prey, including little hatchlings. I just wanted to show you what I mean about that speckling. There you see on the sub-adult colour. They've got this sort of speckling around the chest and the back, and that's what we're seeing on this one. But they've also got a dark crown, which this one does. Nice to see them here. We get them in all stages. We had the sub-adult that was sitting, or even the juvenile that was sitting close to the Djuma dam. It's nice to see an in-between stage. And as I said, it takes 4 to 5 years for that eagle to acquire the colouring of an adult. We shift forward so we can get a view of this wonderful little family of geese, and I definitely have a soft spot for them. There they're displaying in response to the flight of a fish eagle. I don't really want to put off-road tracks. Oh! Here's some guinea fowl. Alarm calling as well in response to that fish eagle flying around. So as I said, although they're called fish eagles, and two very proud parents. Very, very cute. And he's been watching the same mated pair of geese for a couple of years now in a row, and watches their trials and tribulations as they move around the pond, and he keeps tracks of the babies. And I regularly get pictures sent through of their progress, so we feel very much intimately involved in the lives of those two geese who live outside his office. They are so cute and so fluffy. What little birdies are there? Oh, 3 banded plovers, all running together. Or are they? Cute. The smallest of the plover or the lapwing family. Live on Twitter, or you can email through to questions@wildearth.tv. On Djuma, sorry, not Djuma, Arethusa, right outside the dam, and both of them have cameras up at the dams, at the major dams that operate 24/7 and provide the viewers with an image as to what's happening around here. But Clancy, you were wondering, in a much broader term, if I could tell you a little bit about the differences between Arethusa and Djuma in terms of landscape, animals, vegetation, topography, anything like that. And there's the hippos as well. They're definitely going to be waiting till it's a little bit later before they start venturing out in this heat. But for Clancy's question, they're quite similar in a lot of ways. I would say that Arethusa has a couple more deep drainage lines, and the reason behind that is although that Djuma has its own natural seep lines, Arethusa's seep lines, basically Arethusa is what beneath the soil. So when water flows through, it's pushed up to the surface and the soil becomes much more waterlogged and nutrient rich. And that completely changes, not completely, but it generally changes the vegetation types that we get. You see a lot more silver cluster leaves on Arethusa, as well as creating the big deep drainage lines that we see. And some kids playing in the swimming pool. In terms of animal movement, it's very, very similar. The grass types will be slightly different because of the seep lines, so in winter you might be lucky enough to see more movement between things like giraffe and bulk grazers like bulk grazers like zebra and wildebeest. But beyond that, there's not a huge difference in terms of animals. They're very similar. They are very, very close to each other. There's only a road separating the two of them. Just bear with me one moment. The guys are trying to contact me on the Game Drive channel. Standing by. Copy that, thank you. I'm just at the dam now. I'm going to make my way there. Alrighty. Now, let's go and see what those lionesses are up to, because I'm sure a lot of you have questions to ask about them, and let's see how they're looking and if maybe they're a bit more relaxed than they were when we left them this morning. Still choking there, Andrew.
No, I'm okay.
Shame. Inhale the bug. Keep watching the Djuma Dam camera, because I'm almost certain that even if they don't come down to drink there, which they probably will, you're almost guaranteed to hear they make for an impressive cacophony of sound. Now, in terms terms of the sticks, the Birmingham boys brought one female with them. I'm not the one with the big black eye. He has definitely developed quite a dominating personality. Even though he is one of the younger ones. Oh, sorry, I'm being... Missions like this, it's not necessarily age dominated all the time, although it generally will be. With Uhuhuma's contact calls. So very interesting stuff happening with that dynamics. Now Amy, you sent through that question. Please let us know where it is that you're from. We'd love to hear about that. We love knowing where all of our viewers come from in the world. Watch these stories all unfold, and we put forward a prediction or two that we think might happen, and then of course the animals go out and do something completely the opposite to what we expect them to. It really is quite phenomenal. I'm going to speed up a little bit. I keep forgetting that we have a terribly foreshortened sunset safari. I think let's go a little bit quicker for now to get to those two lionesses. I'm really keeping my fingers crossed that tomorrow morning the Birmingham boys are still around on Djuma, so that we can find them and really get a confirmation, most importantly, about who that female is, and if she is the mother of the young cubs that were killed by the Birmingham boys. Now, we've never had any confirmation. The little male who survived the first attack, we've never had confirmation that he was killed, but he hasn't been seen in a very long time, so it seems more than likely that he has. And Sarah, who is 17 years old and from Ohio and one of our regular viewers, you were wondering if it is the sixth female with those cubs and she is mating with the Birmingham boys, and she definitely is, would she be in real estrus or would it be a false estrus? And the answer is almost certainly false estrus. We generally see that. It's exactly what happens typically in any kind of pride takeover situation. So when new males come in, the females come into false estrus to placate them, especially pregnant ones, because they want to trick them into thinking that they are the fathers of the new cubs that are going to be born as quickly as possible, so that they can try and save their cubs. And females with young cubs will also enter into false estrus to try and keep their cubs safe. But for the most part, the reason that the females do that is because, and the Birmingham boys are young and they're unestablished as a coalition. They have pretty much established themselves, but there's certainly no guarantees. Now, a female doesn't want to put in the physical effort instinctively required to produce babies and invest 3 months of her life and then try and look after them, only to have them killed by a totally separate coalition that comes in and uproots. And there's always a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? There's always quite an imbalance in the beginning in terms of their dynamics. Nothing settled and nothing certain. So for most of the cases, never put a rule. You can't put rules onto these animals. It's not like they read the textbooks. So they might go into a natural full estrus, but for the most part, as a rule, it is most likely a false estrus. I think I've made a fatal error. Well, not a fatal error. That might be a little bit melodramatic. I don't think it's a fatal error. Oh no, I haven't. Never mind. I thought I'd taken the long route, but we're fine. We're at Excuse me, Franklin's. Yes, thank you. Sorry. Coming through. Standing by. No, negative. I'm still en route. I should be on lock in the next 5 minutes or so. Letting the guys know the emails. Okay, well, although Scotty's not out, the drone is up and running, and it's currently hovering over the vulture carcass on Djuma to see what they can spot from the air. So let's head across and look at that view, and I will catch up with you very, very shortly. Well, welcome back, and how amazing is that footage? It's so incredible to see. I think we've just got to the point where the lionesses are. That's interesting because they've moved from where we last left them. Let's see what's happening here. Moved very far. It's probably about 500 meters or so from where we were, but very glad that I chose to take this approach and not the original approach I was going to take. I'm definitely looking much more relaxed. I wonder where they're going to go now and what they're going to do. They've had quite the day. And when we were looking into their eyes this morning, we had a couple of really beautiful shots of them. They were definitely showing serious signs of fear. And they obviously, despite the best efforts at peace attempts in those mating moments, they obviously still aren't fully secure with the Birmingham boys around, and I definitely don't blame them. There's the other lioness. She's totally relaxed on top of a termite mound, just the ear frantically flicking flies away.
Basically, there's 5 new males coming in.
I wonder what's going to happen with them.
Lion that is either male or
We just have to wait and see whether or not they reconnect with the rest of their pride. Time since we heard anything about her or Junior. And Junior is definitely at the point now where he must think about disappearing off. It's time for him to move on into his adult life. And if he gets lucky, then he'll find another young lion of a similar age who he can join up with and spend a bit of time with, and that will just offer the extra special protection. Now what we've experienced with these young Birminghams is because there's 5 of them, they've definitely had an impact earlier than lions normally would. So they're only about 4 to 5 years old. They typically, lions will only really come to being dominant pride males around 6 or 7. But because there's 5 of them, they've enabled them, and they're big boys, it's definitely enabled them to push their weight around a little bit better. And as a consequence, what we saw when they were mating with the Nkuhuma lioness, I'm not sure if they've refined their technique. They basically had no idea what to do. They had no clue. So she's still looking over her shoulder. It'll be interesting to see if these 2 girls continue to move south from where they were at Red Dam, or which route they decide to take. I just took a sip of water and missed my mouth. That wasn't very elegant at all. Sorry, it's very hot this afternoon. Definitely a very peaceful setting. We're stretching out. Oh, giving those feet a really good stretch outwards. Oh, second lioness has lifted her head. They're up. And she's up and on her way. I thought she might be. She did look a little bit restless. She stopped right behind the car. There you go, you can see the flash of legs moving around behind us. And she's flopped down again. And whilst I reposition to try and, although I think I might startle her, let me try and do this nice and slowly so that we can keep her in view, although the female has lifted up her head and is looking. Oh, she's up as well. I think these 2 ladies are going to get moving.
They won't be sticking around one area for too long.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I wonder what their plans are and where they're going to go. Awesome to watch. And we just don't know where they're going to go. Let me turn around so we can keep a view of them. I wouldn't be at all surprised if they're heading towards the Arathusa Dam, which is where we've just come from. Probably are quite thirsty. And it seems as though, despite my dire predictions, Scott is up and about and heading towards the Birmingham boys, so we can tell you both sides of this incredible story. So whilst Scott heads in that direction, we're going to keep up with these 2 lionesses, and we will catch up with you a little bit later.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome on board with myself, Scott, and Jandre is on camera. Sorry about the good news is there have been a lot of technical difficulties and gremlins that have been causing us some frustrations over the last few days that have been fixed, finally. And we are about 30 seconds away from a few members of the Birmingham. But just up to our right, you'll see a few other vehicles who are already in the sighting. And looking forward to see what happens this evening with them. We might get lucky and get to see them vocalizing. They already appear to be quite active. Looks like the flies are giving them a hard time for now. Look at how beautiful they are. We can thank Aubrey and William, who are parked off just to their left, and they are casting a wonderful side light onto that one male. What if these other two have just picked up their heads? I wonder what they've heard. Maybe it's the other males. Maybe it's the other two members of their coalition that we can hear calling. You can see the lion at the back who is having a hard time with the flies. And I know a lot of you were a little bit upset about seeing all those maggots this morning, but you can thank the flies now for keeping these lions awake for us. Oh yes, others are calling. These ones are going to join in, hopefully. I can hear the other males calling off in the distance. And there's a strong chance these guys are going to vocalize back. Brent, switch off there. Are they vocalizing? Okay, well, great news. Brent is on the other side of the Mulwati riverbed. We are currently on the western side. Brent is, the western kind of southern side, and Brent is on the northeastern side. And he does have at least one other Birmingham male there, heading towards the Djuma Dam. So Brent is out with Viam and Alex, who have been on the drone operation this afternoon. Isn't he absolutely spectacular? I think this one has the biggest mane on, but I could be wrong. I'm still trying to get to know exactly who's who. It always fascinates me how kind of cute a big male lion can look in times like this as he rolled over. But don't be fooled by these tender moments, because these boys certainly can put on a show of aggression. We haven't seen too much of that, but that's not to say that in the coming weeks and months we'll get to see a serious clash between this coalition and another one. Possibly the Matimbas, possibly the Salatis, who knows, maybe another coalition is going to arrive onto the scene. And speaking of how cute lions can look, it sounds like Jamie's having a few tender moments across with the Inkahuma lionesses, so we're going to shoot you across there for a quick update, and we'll be waiting here for your return.
Welcome back, and sorry to interrupt you there with Scott, but just look how wonderfully affectionate these two were being with each other. And they're yawning, letting us know that they're going to get up and move. But we just wanted to bring you across very quickly to get a little bit of that wonderful aloe grooming that they were demonstrating. So licking each other's faces, a lot of affection and bonding going on here. And it could well be because of the fact that they've been through so much recently. But look how stunning she is. Painted in silhouette like that. It's amazing to think that they've been through so much and retained the bond between Pride members that they have. And these two are probably sisters. They're about the same age. Hello, gorgeous. They are about the same age. They probably came from the same litter. It's hard to tell, but that's what I think. And they've... Even if the Nkuhuma Pride stays split, they will be around together for the rest of the time. Being very cutesy tonight. Beauty girl. Now I think it might be nice to be clean and free of all of that buffalo that they were covered in for the last 4 days. Still with fairly round bellies, so at least they got to have their fair share of the kill before being chased off. And there's that point of contact that's so important between the various Pride members. Is accompanied by the resident flies, who are still fluttering around. You can see them buzzing around her ear there. Well, we just wanted to show you that sweet show of affection between the two of them. They've both gone back to sleep for now. So I think let's head across and see if those Birmingham boys are going to start calling in the night. And I'll sit here and stay with these two and monitor the way that they respond, because even though I won't be able to hear it, they will. So we'll watch from this side. But for now, let's see what Scotty's seeing, and I will catch up with you a little bit later.
Welcome back, everyone. And Djuma and I were just debating as to what to do here, because it looks like the other male is possibly heading to the small pond at Gallagher, and that's why, as you leant across, you heard me switch off the vehicle. Half of me wanted to go there and watch him drinking, but the other half of me wants to stay here in case these three vocalize. So that's what we're going to do. It's a bit of a gamble, but you do have to take the odd chance when on safari. And I think if all three of these boys roar for us, it would be more impressive than watching that one individual taking a drink. This is the first individual that we actually saw this morning when they arrived on the scene of the buffalo carcass that the two Nkuhuma lioness were feeding on. He's got that very distinctive black eye, and he came charging past the vehicle. The two Nkuhuma lioness made a hasty retreat and continued probably about 1.5 to 2 miles to where you are sitting with them now with Jamie. There's still therefore one male from this coalition missing, as well as one lioness, possibly from the Styx Pride. We got a very brief glimpse of her this morning, and that was all we got to see. So currently we can account for Birmingham males, one of which is Probably taking a drink at that little Gallagher waterhole pond, or sorry, the Djuma waterhole pond. And I'm guessing the other one male is possibly sticking around with that lioness. Now sadly, one thing we have noticed with these boys is that they are late risers in the evening. They don't seem to get active too early on, but hopefully that will be different this evening. And Vanessa and Barb were interested to know how far away the Nkuhuma lioness were, and like I just said, probably around 1.5 to 2 miles as the crow flies. So they covered quite a lot of territory this morning. Must have been quite an uncomfortable traverse because their bellies were full of buffalo meat. Really interesting behavior though, because they certainly didn't flee the scene as if their life depended on it. They kind of just slunk off into the bushes. And I'm not too sure why they were possessed to move such a big distance away from these boys, but I guess it's better to err on the side of caution. Listen carefully, the other male's calling. But his 3 partners over here are giving him the silent treatment and not responding. Who knows why? You would have thought they would have given him a little murmuring of a response, but nothing. The Cape turtle dove in the background's making more noise than these 3 in front of us, as well as a few hardy-dar ibis. The Cape turtle dove was the one that was going work harder. Depending on your time zone, drink lager, drink lager. And the hardy-dar is the one that's crying out, wah, wah. At any moment now we could probably also expect to start hearing the scops owls calling. Grr, grr. Now I mentioned earlier that that line at the back's got a very distinctive black eye, and it's actually just the hair is actually missing around the eye, and we're not too sure exactly what happened. Right now he's entertaining himself with some fly hunting, so not too sure, Lindsay. As far as I remember, he wasn't in that state when we saw him last in probably February or March. I think we should move off to this other line. It seems like he's going to be more active. He's the one you can hear calling now. I think these guys might join in shortly. Come on, boys. Join in. Here we go. This is looking good. This is looking good. Everyone listen closely, this is going to blow your mind. It's one of my favorite things to share with people in Africa. Here they go. Wasn't that fantastic? As I said just before they all synchronized that wonderful call, if I could choose one thing to show people who are out on safari, it would be male lions vocalizing. Look at how eerie he looks as he walks through the shadows. Well, that's what it's all about. That is what being on this live safari is all about, these special moments. It's so good to have you all with us. Let's go and see what's happening with the individual that they're reuniting with. The side lighting from the other vehicles, it's always a bit tricky relying on them entirely though, because you never know when they're going to shine their spotlight off the lions, but for the moments that we do get it right, it's absolutely awesome. And what's common behavior for lion once they've just woken up like this is that they'll do a little bit of grooming, lots of yawning, and then possibly lie down for another break. Toilet breaks often also included in their initial wake up. I'm not sure if you guys can see a cut under his right arm. There seems to be something doesn't quite look right there, so look closely for me if you don't mind, and let us know if you do notice any obscurity. So he's moved off. The other members of the coalition are just off to the right here. There's one there that we can see, and then another one just to the right of this individual we're looking at now. Okay, let's get a little bit closer. Awesome stuff, isn't it? Kill the light so that I don't blind all these guests as we get into position. Like I've said, it's close to impossible for Genre to get the camera settings right because the spotlights are swinging backwards and forwards, and as he adjusts for one lighting condition, it swiftly changes. So apologies for that, but it is what it is. So this is the behavior I've just mentioned that you can expect to see. They get up as if they're going to march off and do something serious, and moments later they're fast asleep again. And I guess it's similar to us hitting the snooze button in the morning. You take your time to get your act together, and these lions are no different. It could take them an hour or so of this up and down before they start marching in their next direction. It'll be interesting to see where they do decide to head next. I'm hoping they get lucky and manage to make. Guessing though, if they don't, they're going to march north into Buffalo. They haven't been into that part of their new territory for quite some time. Well, I'm so fortunate, and I'm so happy that we were fortunate enough to get to see them up and moving around, and not only that, but got to see them vocalize just before the end of the show. As I said before they did do that, they are late risers. It could have taken them much longer than usual to become active, and I guess we can thank the one individual who we actually weren't sitting with initially that started off all that roaring. Jean spotted another one moving off to the left there, and I think he is possibly going to join. Sorry, Jean. We're all kind of dotted out now, too close to us, that one that we can see it now, and there's another one kind of up in that same area but further to the right of the individual we're shining on. Lots of big yawns. Another one we can't see, but it's somewhere over there. And because there only are a few minutes left, we're going to rush her across to Jamie so that she can say goodbyes, and we'll be waiting here for your return.
Welcome back, and we will definitely be following up on the Birmingham boys. All these two very close sisters. Our bonded session that we just saw where they were grooming each other. Just think with the Matimba males, whilst they've spent time mating with them in the past, or with the Birmingham boys, they're still essentially pride creatures, and they've been completely disjointed and disoriented from the life that they used to know, and it's happened in such a short space of time, and now they're just, and yet quite a tragic thought when you think about just a few months ago we had a full pride of 8 members, and now at the moment we're looking at 2 of them, and where the other 4 are we just don't know. We think they might be together, but we really honestly don't know. And I'm not sure what's happening in their heads, but it is interesting to see. But we will be following up with these stories on the Sunrise Safari tomorrow morning. So a big thank you to Andrew for all of his fantastic camera work and for making it work with our bush mechanics applied to the spirit level. And a big thank you to you, the viewers, and we will catch up with you with the Sunrise Safari. Have a wonderful day or night wherever you are.
Welcome back, everyone. And what a day it's been here. We started off, we finished off with a wonderful scene of those males roaring, The fifth member has just returned into this general area, but it's a little bit tricky to show you all of them with the spotlight. We can try quickly. So there's basically 2 over here close to the vehicles, and then the other one that's just arrived, which was the 5th missing one, is up there. He's just coming onto the scene. No sign of the lioness around him though, so not really sure where she's ended up. Then if we move to the left, there's another individual behind those branches. You can't see him too clearly, so that's number 4. And then if we continue left, there's number 5. So all 5 of them are here. No sign of that lioness. But the rest of this puzzle will be pieced together tomorrow morning on the sunrise safari with all of you guys, and look forward to that adventure with you guys already. Thank you so much for all your help and support, even though we were only out for half an hour, Jean-André and myself, this evening. And again, apologies for the technical difficulties, but a lot of big problems were solved today, so it should make for a smoother, more effective safari from tomorrow and the coming weeks and days. Again, to Jess and Nick's, big thanks in the final control room, and good work on the very ever so slightly this evening for this special moments, but we're going to say goodbye now and see you all on the next adventure tomorrow morning.
Now that you signed off, can I ask you a question?